Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to discuss current affairs of 6th January 2022. In this lecture, we are going to discuss 7 topics which are very much learned from our UPSC point of view. So let's get started with our discussion and let us try to see a brief introduction regarding the topics. Now we are going to have our discussion. So first topic, it is regarding India-China relations. So this article mainly talked about what are the Chinese aggressiveness that we can see, and even India's we can see like India's way forward that is mainly given in this article. And this article mainly talked about US and as well as Russia's influence on India as well. So this will be important from our international relations, which mainly comes under our GS paper 2. And next topic, it is about these islands of excellence must not be marooned. So this article mainly talking about national law universities. So this article is very important from our polity point of view, because recently CJI, Chief Justice of India, who made some statements regarding this national law institutes. So here this topic is important because we need to know about what are the issues they are facing and what is the way forward. And next topic, it is about the government says 8 lakh as EWS, economically weaker sections income cap, is the best way forward. So here we need to talk about this topic. Actually, we are discussing this topic from last 3 to 4 days onwards. So if you are following our news analysis continuously, there will be some continuation that is seen in current affairs. And next topic, it is about Sri Lanka court frees 13 Tamil Nadu fishermen. So already if you're talking about this fisherman issue that is persistently seen in news regarding India and Sri Lanka fishermen, and even in India Pakistan fishermen. So this article talking about India Sri Lanka fishermen issue. So we are going to discuss that. Okay, we are going to see what is the history or what's the background. And next topic, it is about riots. They are farmers. Farmers prefer crop holiday. So till now in our economy we studied about planned holiday. For the first time in the news we can see this word, that is crop holiday. So we are going to understand what is this crop holiday. And next topic, it is about POSH Act. Okay, Prevention of Sexual Harassment at Workplace Act. So here whatever the guidelines is given by High Court, which mainly challenged. So because of this will be important from our polity, and you need to know some facts regarding what is this POSH Act. And next topic, it is about Purchasing Managers Index, that is PMI. So this will be important from our economy point of view. So these are 7 topics. Now we are going to have our discussion. So let's get started with our discussion and let us try to see first topic. So title says the Chinese challenge. The Chinese challenge uncovers India's fragilities. So this article mainly talking about India's fragilities and what are the challenges posed by the China, which mainly seen here, and these China's challenges which mainly poses, okay, which mainly reveals what are some concerns which are mainly we are facing, what are the fragilities we are facing, that is mainly discussed in this article. So as I said, this article will be important from international relations, which mainly comes under our GS paper 2. So let us have a discussion regarding this topic. So if you see central theme, it mainly says that whatever the border crisis that we are facing, already we know that here we have India and here we have China, and this is the border. Okay, let us assume this is the border. So here we are facing some issues in our western sector, and even in our central sector, and even in our eastern sector. So if you're talking about western sector, we have this line of actual control, and since 2020 April May onwards, we are facing standoff. We are facing standoff here. So till now there is no complete disengagement or status quo that is mainly seen in this LAC region. And if you're talking about eastern sector, so in eastern sector we are having Arunachal Pradesh, and China is claiming entire Arunachal Pradesh. And recently Chinese came with changing of 15 area names, okay, in this Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, so this is one cause of concern. And not only this, across this border, China, they are going for this infrastructure development. So recently one article we studied that in this Pong Yong So Lake area, it came up with building of this bridge which is connecting north and as well as south bank. It is one of the most advantage for this China to mobilize troops, equipments, infrastructure, etc. And even across this border, China, they are going for building of villages. Okay, so whenever they are building villages, they can claim that area easily. And recently, Chinese also came up with a new border security law, and this will be came into effect from this January 1st, 2022, and it gave most power for this Chinese government and as well as this PLA, People's Liberation Army of China, to maintain sovereignty, security, and integrity of China. Right? So these are some important background regarding this topic. So if you're talking about India which is having help, India can seek help from Russia, but Russia recent days it is mainly moving towards China. So this is one important issue. And if you're talking about USA, okay, USA it is a good friend of India now, but here recently USA withdrawn from Afghanistan, and recently it is also not it is also moving away. Okay, we are USA do not want to support country regarding this border issue, especially regarding India and China. So if you want to move towards our all-weather friends, that is Russia it is mainly moving towards China. Okay, so these are some important issues which are mainly said here. So author mainly start this topic by taking example of IndoChina War that held in 1962. So 1962, which is mainly called as Banco's Ghost, that is Sino-India War, which mainly hangs like a shadow over the current state of bilateral ties. So the current state of bilateral ties between India and China, which is one of the shadow that mainly we saw in 1962 in Indo-China War here. So in this Indo-China War, India defeated, right? So what happened? We can say this Indo-China War, which held in 1962, it is like a military defeat. Okay, it is a military defeat, and it is like 6 decades, that is 60 years ago. Okay, 60 years ago we had this war between India and China. But this war, it is one of the constant reminder to Delhi that it has its own fears and as well as insecurities which are mainly showcased by this 1962 Indo-China War here. So if you're talking about at present context, an outcome of India's choice since 2014, so the weaknesses have been shown up, prospect of conflict with China, which may no longer be immediate, but it does not feel as a far-fetched and remote did just 2 years ago. So whatever the shadow that we are seeing since 1962 onwards, now we are facing crisis across this LAC region since 2020, and not only clashes which happened in 2020, but in 2017 also we had Doklam standoff, right? So if we're talking about Chinese diplomatic moves, so what are the moves which are taken by the China? So first one here is since 2020 May, April onwards, we are seeing broader crisis at this Ladakh in LAC region. So here Chinese, they pressed on aggressive diplomatic and as well as military gestures that mainly shown against India, and they are having military standoff at this LAC region, and in this LAC region military standoff that also led to Galwan Valley incident, and in this Galwan Valley incident about 20 soldiers they lost their life. Okay, and even China recently renamed 15 places in Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, actually 6 places were renamed in 2017. Okay, and now 15 places were renamed in this Arunachal Pradesh after Dalai Lama's visit to Tawang. So in 2017 Dalai Lama visit happened. So after this visit, Chinese mainly renamed 6 places, and now recently Chinese renamed 15 places. And next one is China justifies the remaining of being done on the basis of historical and as well as cultural and administrative jurisdiction over the area. So why Chinese response for this renaming of these 15 places here is they are saying that so we renamed those places because of historical, because of cultural and as well as administrative jurisdiction over these area. And the old names mainly existed since ancient times onwards. So China says that India mainly occupied or illegally occupied this area. Actually, this area was under China. So this is the thing which mainly said by China. So in this context, our Indian government retaliated, right? So our External Affairs Minister, he said that whatever the move which is taken by Beijing, that is China, does not alter the fact that Arunachal Pradesh is an integral part of India. Okay. So Arunachal Pradesh, it is integral part of India after this Northeast Frontier Agency in 1971, which made an union territory. So at that time onwards, Arunachal Pradesh, it is an integral part of India. So whatever the claims which are made by China, it will not comes under the Chinese administration, it will comes under integral part of India. So this is a thing which mainly said by our External Affairs Minister. So apart from this, Chinese also came up with this new land border law. Okay, so this is new land border law of China. So it mainly came into effect from this January 1st, 2022 onwards. So what is this law about? We already discussed about some details regarding this law, right? So this law which mainly says that People Liberation Army of China, which have the full responsibility, and it can take steps against invasion, encroachment, infiltration, provocation, and to safeguard Chinese territory. Okay, and next one here is Chinese also came up with development of villages across this IndoChina border, especially in Arunachal Pradesh and as well as in line of actual control area. So recently there are many satellite images that are released regarding this development of villages, right? Next one here is recently Chinese also came up with infrastructure project. They are mainly coming up with the building of a bridge which connect north bank with the south bank of this Pongyongso Lake area as well. Okay, so these are some important Chinese aggressive steps that we can see. And if you're talking about what is the response from India, so if you're talking about government of India, which has run out of provocative options against Beijing, that will force its Chinese leadership to change course of its Indian policy. So India do not have proper options now, which is left over, mainly to change the course of Indian policy. Okay, and next one is Beijing. Chinese does not care for its declining popularity among this Indian populace. And even two countries, they have an increased lopsided trade relationship as well. So due to this COVID-19 pandemic, which had been decreased the trade between India and China, and this situation mainly worsened because of this government mishandling of this novel coronavirus pandemic as well. Okay, and even to restore the status quo at LAC region since April 2020 onwards, India undertook many things. Okay, India undertook many things, and we went for several rounds of talks, but they do not have a proper result as well. And even if you're talking about regional groupings like Quad, it is between Australia, India, and Japan and US, which has however remained non-military grouping. It is not talking about this military. And even recently AUKUS, which mainly signed, it is a trilateral security pact between Australia, UK, and US. Okay, and if you're talking about role of America, America had been withdrawn from Afghanistan recently. So because of this, it is one of the crystal clear notion that, so if you're talking about this US, it is not willing to help India regarding this border issue, and US it is mainly showing something like, so this issue should be dealt by these both countries bilaterally, that is by their own. So in this context, our government has now placed its hopes on Moscow, that is Russia now, and Russia, which mainly seems to play a key role, and as well as it can act as a key mediator between this China and as well as India here. And recently, Russian officials mainly say that they offer a foreign ministers meeting, if it is not at a leader summit of Russia, China and India, they can come up with a table meet such that they can take some steps to move towards resolving of their border crisis. So we're talking about the Chinese challenge, which has mainly led globally India's political and economic diplomatic fragilities. So because of these challenges which are mainly posed by China, so now it mainly showcasing economic and diplomatic fragilities, that is issues that we are having. So if you're talking about India which is mainly having some difficult diplomatic and as well as military engagement with China here. So even whenever this Narendra Modi came into power, so whenever he was CM of Gujarat, and whenever he became prime minister, he went for many times meeting with China. And after once this border crisis erupted in 2020, there is not even a single phone call made by prime minister to China. So this is one important cause of concern, right? So if we're talking about diplomatic and military engagement with China by India, we are mainly going to leave it more dependent upon US support. Okay, so here, because of this Modi government, we can say it is a more vulnerable to American pressure or our shared values as well. Okay, so this is some important thing that you need to remember. And if you see the issues between India and China, it is not new from 2020, but even in 2017 we had the Doklam crisis and it was handled rightly by Bipin Rawat ji. But now Bipin Rawat also passed, right? So because of this, there is this CDS post, it is now it is vacant, and to come with some resolution regarding this border crisis, so government need to take some steps, like we need to fill the CDS post and we need to come up with an efficient person should be appointed as CDS, and they need to take good decision regarding this broader crisis as well. Okay, so these are some important things that you need to remember regarding this topic. And now let us try to see next topic. The title says the islands of excellence must not be marooned. So this article mainly talking about national law universities. Okay, so this topic is very important from our polity point of view. Now let us try to see what are these national law universities and what are the things which were mainly stated by our CJI, and even we need to know what are the issues and what's the way forward. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you're talking about why this national law universities is in news, because recently our Chief Justice of India, that is N.V. Ramanaji, he made some comments regarding legal education. Okay, so he made some comments. So now let us try to see what are those comments. So first one is he observed that national law universities, they were being perceived as elitist and they detached from the social realities. Okay, so here the number of students who are joining this national law universities had been decreased, and even though the students who are joining, but they are not joining the bar, they are mainly focusing on some other jobs. Okay, so here this national law universities, they are being perceived as elitist and they are mainly detached from the social realities, because students, they are joining or less number, and even enough students are not joining even bar. Okay, and next one is the practice at the levels of the Supreme Court of India and even High Court, they were ignoring. Okay, so the students who are joining, they are not practicing at the level of Supreme Court and as well as High Court, they are ignoring this trial advocacy. And if you're talking about some concerns which are mainly faced, okay, by this national law universities, or they are mainly criticized for impacting pedagogy, and they are mainly focusing on securing placement in corporate and as well as corporate firms, and they are not joining this bars, okay, bar council. So this is the one important thing here. This is the one important concern that they are mainly facing. So apart from that, another contradictions they are facing here is, so actually these national law universities, they are mainly established and they are partly funded by state government. So because of this, they have to operate in an increasingly fluid political environment. That means we can see some political interference that is seen in these national law universities. Okay, and whenever the state funding which is mainly shrinking means, so most of these national law universities, they are facing exclusively serious crisis because of lack of funding for this national law universities. And if you're talking about research driven academics, so here the disconnect. So in this national law universities, we can see there is some disconnect between social realities and as well as legal education. So what is the purpose of legal education and what is the social reality? We are seeing some disconnect that is present. Okay, and this disconnection, that can be bridged when we are focusing on research. Okay, when we are focusing on research and when we are addressing some social issues. Okay, so in this way we can decrease that disconnect. And therefore finally we need to focus on promotion of research driven academics. So we need to now focus on this research driven academics, and we need to have separate faculties for teaching and as well as for research team. And next one is research driven academics must also be promoted through institutional arrangements, and even we can come up with some schemes that need to incentivize these researchers. Okay, so in this way these is some important things. And if you're talking about other concerns, what are the internal issues you are facing? So if you're focusing on internal issues in this national law universities, they are facing good competition or stiff competition from this upcoming private universities. Okay, because they are having good faculties and they are also focusing on best practices, right? So because of this, they are having some stiff competition, and the students are also going for riots or we can say protest, that they need better faculty and as well as they need to focus on pedagogies and as well as curriculum. So students are also doing some protest. So finally, it must be also understood that, so finally, what's the purpose of education at a graduate level and postgraduate levels? That should be fundamentally different. So many of you have completed your graduation, right? So what are the important aims of this post graduation and as well as graduation? They are very much different, and you need to realize that. So if you're talking about what is the importance of this graduate education means, so in this graduate education we need to focus on especially practice oriented, with a focus on imparting students with ability to learn and understand. So in graduation, if you're talking about science students, or we can talk about engineering students, we will be having some labs. Okay, we will be doing some practical things, right? You will be having electrical labs, so and so. And for science students, we will be having chemistry labs or pharmacology testing. So many labs will be there. For each and every subject, we will be having theory plus lab in our graduation. So why we have this practice oriented? Because when we are going for this lab, then we can learn and we can understand the things mostly than compared to whenever we are reading in our books, whenever we are by having so and so theories, so and so processes. It is like a mugging up. We do not have much interest to learn. We do not have much time to learn them. Just when we are going for reading of these textbooks or by having the concepts, it will be not at all helping. So because of this, we will be having practice in labs such that we can learn and we can understand in our graduate level. So what is the difference with this postgraduate level? So in this postgraduate level, so we should mainly focus on imparting students with ability not only to critically evaluate but also to apply knowledge. So whatever the thing which they are learning in this graduate level, they will be learning, and as well as they will be understanding. But here in this postgraduate level, they will critically evaluate. Okay, and even they also have some knowledge to apply. Okay, so what is the need here? So author mainly says that we need to plan the future vision of national law universities in terms of becoming multi-universities. Okay, and we need to include wide range of subjects, and as well as we need to give more focus on research, and as well as we need to come up with other degrees, as well as not only law degree, but we can also come up with other degrees as well. And we need to establish some individual regulator for legal education in India, such that he can supervise, okay, who can supervise education, how it is going and whether there is any improvements, etc. And this one is national law universities. They can collaborate in a significant way to benefit each other in sharing human resources and as well as expertise. So this is just on this topic, and I hope it is very much clear. And now let us move on to next topic. It is regarding government says rupees 8 lakhs economically weaker section income cap best way forward. So this article mainly talking about 8 lakh EWS income. So already we discussed about the brief background and why it is in news, everything, right? So what happened? So government came up with this 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act, okay? 103 Constitutional Amendment Act, it said that 10% of reservation should be given for this EWS category, and they came up with the income cap of 8 lakh rupees. Okay, and what happened? NEET admissions came, and in this NEET admissions they said that they are going to implement 27% of reservation for OBC category and 10% of reservation for this EWS, and petition filed in Supreme Court. And Supreme Court asked one question to center. So why they came up with a cap of 8 lakh rupees? What is the reason? Okay, and it also asked some other questions regarding what is this OBC and what is this EWS. So whenever we are providing a reservation for this EWS, whether it is affecting this OBC or not, so like that, some questions which are mainly asked by Supreme Court. So in retaliation, our government of India came up with a 3-member committee mainly to look after this 8 lakh rupees, whether it is feasible or not. And recently on January 1st and December 31st, so this committee came up with a report. Okay, report said that yes, this 8 lakh rupees, it is feasible. And yesterday Supreme Court mainly hearing this case. So regarding this case, government mainly gave the statements. Okay, so now let us try to see some statements such that there will be continuity in this news issue. So if you're talking about context, it mainly says that center government in Supreme Court backed its committee's recommendations to retain 8 lakh annual income criteria, and this 8 lakh annual income criteria to identify economically weaker sections of society, and this is the best way forward. So central government said that yes, this 8 lakh annual income criteria which is accepted or which is also said okay by this committee, and this is one of the best way forward. Okay, and central government asked to continue this NEET counseling based on this EWS quota. So if you see some details, it mainly says that government said that it would not let anything come in the way of other backward classes, that is OBCs, and the poorest of the poor getting benefits from reservation. So if you are providing this EWS reservation of 10%, okay, so it will have no effect on this 27% of reservation for this OBC. And next one is, government also said that we will not accept any position whereby OBCs or EWS they are deprived of something that is legitimately due to them. That means if these OBCs and as well as EWS they really have to get that, so we are not going to deprive them. So this is the gist of this topic, and if there is any editorial which comes in tomorrow's newspaper, we are going to discuss that. So after everything judgment is given by Supreme Court, we will be getting many articles, many editorials. There we will have our detailed discussion. And next topic, it is about Sri Lanka court frees 31 Tamil Nadu fishermen. Okay, so this article talking about 13 Tamil Nadu fishermen, they were released by this Sri Lanka court. So now let us try to see context. So Sri Lankan court, which is located in this North Mannar district, order for release of these 13 Tamil Nadu fishermen who were arrested in the December on charges of illegal fishing. So on charges of illegal fishing, so fishermen were arrested, and these fishermen they were released now by this Sri Lankan court. So if you see background, there are about total of 68 Indian fishermen. They were arrested on charges of illegal fishing in Sri Lankan waters, and apart from that 10 mechanized boats they were also seized by the Sri Lankan officers. So now let us try to understand the history. Then if you see this history, if you understand this history, then you can understand so what is a fisherman issue that is happening between India and Sri Lanka. So if you are talking about history, both Indian and as well as Sri Lankan fishermen, they have been fishing into this Park Bay area for centuries. So since some centuries onwards, here fishermen from both India and as well as Sri Lanka, they had been fishing into this Park Bay. Okay, and what is this bay? Okay, if you are talking about this bay, so in geography you will coming across this bay. So bay is nothing but whenever the land is curved inwards. Okay, whenever the land which is curved inwards, and three sides of the land, these three sides which is mainly covered by the land, and one side which is open into ocean, that is called as a bay. And you can also come across one word, that is Gulf. Okay, Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of Mannar, etc. Right? So if you're talking, Gulf of Mexico. So if you're talking about Gulf, what is this Gulf? So what is the difference between this bay and Gulf? So bay and Gulf, it is like the same thing. They are covered by three sides by the land, but the Gulf which is having a very narrow opening than compared to that of bay. Okay, so if you're talking about this Park Bay, it is a semi-enclosed shallow water body, and this Park Bay which is mainly present between southeast coast of India and as well as Sri Lanka. Between India and Sri Lankan coast, we have this Park Bay. So problem mainly emerged because of one maritime agreement which mainly signed between India and Sri Lanka. So between India and Sri Lanka, we signed one maritime agreement in 1974. So because of this agreement, that led to some problems between India and Sri Lanka, especially regarding this fishermen issue. So initially 1974, this border agreement did not affect fishing on either side of the border. But later on, after 2 years in 1976, so there was an exchange of letters between this Indian and as well as Sri Lanka. They agreed to stop fishing in either other waters. That means Indians, they need to fish in this Indian waters, and Sri Lankan, they need to fish in the Sri Lankan waters. There should be no cross-border fishing. So in this 1974 and 1976 treaties, they were signed between these two countries to demarcate this international maritime boundary line. And later on, these treaties, they ended up by marking Park Strait, which mainly connecting India and Sri Lanka. as a two-nation pond, okay, and they underwent the relevant United Nations Convention on Law of Seas, that is UNCLOS rules for execution of this third nations, okay. And these bilateral agreements which mainly bans international fishing and shipping, okay. So because of this in maritime boundary line, so these bilateral agreement between India and Sri Lanka, that mainly banned international fishing and as well as shipping as well, okay. But after this agreement also, fishermen, they could not stop fishing in these waters, okay. Fishermen no boundary, okay. So because of this, fishermen, they will cross their boundary and they will go for fishing in the Sri Lankan waters, okay. Despite of signing of this maritime boundary agreements, so fishermen communities of both the countries, they continued their fishing in this Park Bay area peacefully, okay. So in this way, what happened after end of the war of 2019, so Sri Lankan fishermen, they have been raising their objection in Indian fishermen fishing in their waters. And later on, India and Sri Lanka, they agreed to come up with a joint working group, that is JWG, on fisheries in 2016, that is between India and Sri Lanka, as a mechanism to help find a permanent solution for this fishermen issue, okay. So this is about some history and background, then you can easily understand this topic, okay. And you can write about what is a way forward. So please suggest at least 3 to 4 points regarding this way forward, regarding this India Sri Lanka fishermen issue. And now let us move on to next topic and let us try to see this topic. Title says riots. Riots means nothing but they are farmers, okay. Riots is nothing but farmers. Farmers prefer crop holiday, fields left fallow. So I can connect this topic with our modern history. In the modern history also, we studied about number of farmer movements, right? So let me know which are those farmer movements that we already studied in our modern India, modern history times. Okay, so now what happened? So this is a thing which mainly is seen in the state of Telangana. So what happened? So in the modern India or modern history, we studied that because of this Britishers' policies that are mainly exploiting these farmers because of Teen Katya system, so and so, that led to number of farmer movements. So in these farmer movements, even Mahatma Gandhi also participated, right? So let me know which are those farmer movements and in which movements Mahatma Gandhi participated. So as I said earlier, daily we are going to have one topic from our static syllabus and this will be helpful, right? So today's question is regarding this farmer movements in our modern history times and in which movements Mahatma Gandhi participated. Don't forget about that. So please do the work I am giving daily. So now let us try to see this topic. Actually, why I selected this topic, because so in our economy, whenever we are studying our planning, especially planning, we will be having a word called as plan holiday, right? So now we are seeing in this news that is a crop holiday. So this is a new term that we are seeing. So because of this, we need to understand this. And you can also get a question in your prelims regarding this. What is this crop holiday that is seen recently in news? So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that recently center took one decision that not to procure para-boiled rice from this Telangana state. Okay, so Telangana state, which became the rice bowl because of a high production of paddy that we can see here. So what happened in Telangana? We are having many rice mills, especially I am from Telangana, so I know about this issue because I am also from a farmer family. So if we are talking what is the issue here is Telangana state, we are having many rice mills, and whatever the rice we are producing here, that will be taken into mills, that is especially para-boiled mills, and this para-boiled rice which is mainly sold to FCI, okay, Food Corporation of India. So what happened now, recently center said that we are not going to procure this para-boiled rice from Telangana state during this summer season. So from now onwards, we are not going to procure rice from this para-boiled rice from center. Then what happened? Here is farmers. Now even our family is in dilemma that whether we need to go for sowing of this paddy or not. So now we are having this Rabi season that is going to be started. So in this season, when we want to go for this sowing of this paddy, so even our family is in dilemma that whether we have to go for sowing or not. Okay, so till now there is no work which had been started in our farms regarding the sowing of paddy this year. Okay, so because of this, many of the farmers in Telangana state, they had an idea that rather than growing this paddy, they can go for giving of holiday for their crops. That is, they want to they want to leave their fields fallow. Okay, so this is context. So if you're talking about details, it mainly says that many farmers who are friends and as well as relatives, they are mainly going ahead with cultivation of paddy despite of this government announcing that it would not open procurement centers for paddy in the ensuring this rabi season. So in this rabi season, here centers, they are not going to procure this paraboiled rice here. So because of this, what happened, even though center said that only some farmers who are having some assurance, they are going for this cultivation of this paddy in this rabi season. Okay, so such farmers are taking up cultivation only when they have proper agreement between this buyers on quantity. Okay, so if they are having some nexus with some rice mills, so they are going for paddy cultivation. If the small and marginal farmers who do not have proper agreements, they are not going for this cultivation of this paddy in this rabi season. So in case if farmers, they did not get any assurance here, they are mainly preferring to leave the land unplowed. So even if you're talking about some farmers who are special tenants, okay, who are taking land for lease, so they are going for leasing of lands, because if they are not going for taking of leasing of lands, they cannot get that land next year, right? So because of this, they are having some loss as well, because for 1 acre of land they will be giving charges of 8,000 rupees or 8,000 rupees to 15,000 rupees. So because of this, so this loss is also bear by farmers, especially they don't want to lose the land. Okay, so this is gist of this topic, and now let us move on to next topic. Title says POSH Act High Court Guidelines Challenged. So this article mainly talking about recent guidelines which is given by High Court regarding this POSH Act. So this POSH Act is nothing but Protection of Women from Sexual Harassment Act. So this article is important from our polity, which mainly comes under GS paper 2. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you're talking about context, it mainly says that a petition has been filed in the Supreme Court. A petition has been filed in Supreme Court regarding challenging of guidelines were issued by this Bombay High Court. So recently Bombay High Court issued some guidelines under this POSH Act, protection of women from sexual harassment act here. So here in this guidelines, which mainly includes some blanket bar, some blanket bar on parties and as well as advocates from sharing records. They should not share records, including orders and as well as judgments with the media. So these are some guidelines is given by this High Court. So because of this, whenever this type of guidance is given by the High Court, so whenever it is saying that it should not share orders and even judgments, means it will mainly affect Article 19 of Indian Constitution, that mainly talks about freedom of speech and expression. Okay, so the petition which mainly filed by this advocate argued that whatever the guidelines is given by this Bombay High Court was a death blow for this Article 19 of Indian Constitution, and you all know this Article 19 is fundamental right, which mainly comes under Part 3 of our Indian Constitution, which mainly talks about freedom of speech and expression. Okay, and this petition said a well-informed citizenry governs itself better. So when we are providing information to the people, then only the citizens plays an important role in governance. So if there is a bar on this sharing of reports and sharing of judgments, means it mainly affects this Article 19 of Indian Constitution. So if you're talking about this article, which is mainly says that if you're talking about especially in the matters of judicial, social justice and as well as women empowerment, public disclosure, which mainly plays a crucial role in shaping of our legal entitlements that are mainly delivered to women. Okay, so in the matters of social justice and as well as women empowerment, public disclosure, so this plays an important role in shaping of legal entitlements. Okay, so because of this guidance are given by this Bombay High Court, which have some ripple effect, which mainly deters survivors from approaching the courts and as well as setting a dangerous precedent of trial cases as well. Okay, so now let us try to talk about some important facts regarding this POSH Act. So what is sexual harassment at a workplace? Okay, so whenever there is a violation of women's right to equality, right to life and liberty, that will come under this sexual harassment at workplace. Okay, so this sexual harassment which mainly creates insecure and hostile work environment. So in this way, it mainly discourages women participation in work. Already you know that women work which is mainly coming under, which is not accounting under our economy or our GDP. Okay, it is not accounted under our GDP. So most of this work which is done by women is domestic work and as well as caring work, which is not contributing for our GDP. So because of this, we are losing very much potential from the women, right? So because whenever we are having even sexual harassment that is seen at this workplaces, only some percentage of women, they are coming out of their houses and they are doing work. Okay, so whenever they are having some insecure and hostile work environment, means it will further discourage this women participation in the work here. So thereby it will be adversely affecting socio-economic empowerment of women, and even it will also affect inclusive growth, right? So here, because of this, our government came up with this law, that is Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition, Redressal Act in 2013. So this is our POSH Act. So now let us try to see some provisions of this act. So this act mainly defines sexual harassment as unwelcome act. So this sexual harassment, it is unwelcome act or behavior. Okay, and here this sexual harassment like physical contact or advances or demand for the request for sexual favor or making any sexual colored remarks or showing pornography or any other unwelcome physical and as well as verbal or non-conduct, that will come under this sexual harassment. And next one is, this act will also cover both organized and as well as unorganized sectors in India. Okay, and even this act will be applied for this government bodies and NGOs, non-government organizations, and which are the organizations which are carried in the commercial, vocational, educational, entertainment and even industrial, financial activities, hospitals. So these will all cover under this act. And apart from that, the important feature of this act here is it also said to set up internal complaints committee for any organization who are having more than 10 employees. So whenever there are more than 10 employees are present, so they need to go for setting up of internal complaints committee as well. And this complaints committee need to redress complaints pertaining to sexual harassment. And apart from this, if an agreed woman, that is victim, can also file a written complaint to this ICC, okay, from 3 months from the date of incident as well. And next one is, there is also prohibition on publication of identity of aggrieved woman, respondent, witnesses, contents of the complaint and inquiry proceedings or recommendations of the committee. So they can be prohibited for publication as well, such that will be also helpful for safe and security of that witnesses and as well as aggrieved women, etc. So this is a gist of this topic. And now let us move on to next topic. So before saying this topic, I want to make a small announcement on this platform. If you want to clear UPSC, I will strongly suggest you join this prelims test series and as well as mains answer writing course, which we are offering in our Rathod's IAS. So if you're talking about this prelims test series, we are providing 30 tests, includes both the GS and as well as CSAT. Right, in GS we are having sectional test, we are having revision test, we are also having full length test. And if you're talking about this mains answer writing practice, you all know that if you want to see your name in your final list, so you have to focus on this mains answer writing practice. So mains answer writing practice is very, very important to clear this UPSC especially, because you will be having 3 hours of time. In this 3 hours you need to answer 20 questions. Okay, you will be getting an average 7 to 7.5 minutes for one question. So now you can imagine how much fast you should be, so how much thorough with the topic. So here in this mains answer writing course, especially to bring thoroughness in you, so we are focusing on our GS, GS1, GS2, GS3 and GS4. Okay, and here we are focusing on each and every topic. We will give you micro listing of syllabus, and even we are giving it weekly targets. Weekly targets like you have to complete 2 to 4 chapters in every week, and based on that we will be giving you daily one mains question. On Sunday there will be essay or case study. So there will be evaluation, there will be one-to-one mentorship as well. and we also provide you model answer. So in this way you can cover your entire static syllabus within 1 year. So either you are a beginner or either you already gave your prelims or already you gave your mains. So I will suggest you this course. So this will be very useful and very beneficial as well. And actually this course had been started on January 3rd, and the registrations for this January batch which will be closed by January 10th. So please try to join this course as soon as possible and please hurry up. And details of this course is given in description box, and you can see, and you can also see the schedule of this mains answer writing course. And apart from these courses, we also launched a foundational course for this UPSC, especially for GS, and we are providing more than 700 hours of video classes such that we are focusing especially on the quality of education. We are not compromising on quality. We are focusing on quality and we are focusing on conceptual clarity. So after watching all these lectures in each and every subject, we are dealing with each and every topic along with related current affairs and as well as PRELIMS, prelims and as well as mains questions discussions, such that you can get an idea regarding how questions will be asked in your mains and as well as prelims as well, and how to answer those questions as well. Right? And if you want to take individual courses like economy, history, geography, science and technology, environment and ecology, disaster management, like that, you can also take the individual courses. So the details are given in this description box. And if you take foundational course or this individual courses, the cost per 1 hour of class is less than 90 rupees. And here I am the academic director of this Rathod's IAS Academy, and you can 100% trust us. Okay? And the details of this course are given in description box. And if you want to contact us or to talk to me directly, you can call to this number 8074765513. Okay, so this is the contact number. You can contact us directly. Okay, so now let's come back and let us see next topic. Title says PMI Purchasing Manager Index December Services Activity hits 3 months low. So it is talking about PMI Purchasing Manager Index. Actually, this topic is important from our GS paper 3 under our economy. So now let us try to talk about this topic in a very great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that India's service sector activity moderated in December as business activity and sales rose at a slower pace. Okay. So India's service sector activity has been moderated. So in December month, there is decreasing of service sector activity. Because of this, we can say one reason might be here is Omicron. It is a new variant of coronavirus, and even France, there is one new variant of this coronavirus which found that, and this spreading of this new variant which is found in France is very much fast than compared to that of this Omicron. So this is recent report that I studied in some article. Okay. So here, if you are talking about context, it mainly says that India's service sector activity which mainly moderated in December as business activity and sales rose at a softer pace. Okay, so business activity and as well as sales are mainly decreased in this month of December actually. So this is according to monthly survey which mainly said in its report. So if you see details, it mainly says that the seasonally adjusted India Service Business Activity Index. Okay, so India Service Business Activity Index which mainly fell from 58.1 in November to 55.5 in month of December here. So this is a 5th straight month we are seeing there is a service sector witnessed expansion in output here. Okay, for 5th straight month the service sector witnessed expansion, but now in the month of December we can see there is decreasing of the service sector output. So even if you're talking about this purchasing manager index, so it you need to know some facts regarding this purchasing manager index. So what is this PMI? So this purchasing manager index, which is nothing but which is an indicator of business activity, especially in manufacturing and as well as service sector. So this it is based on especially like survey based measure. Again, this measure in this survey, respondents will be asked regarding changes in their perception about key business variables. Okay, when we are comparing to the previous month, and this index which will be given separately for manufacturing and as well as service sector. So if you are talking about this PMI number, that is from 0 to 100. Okay, so if you are taking here median value is 50. So if it is below 50 means contraction, if it is above 50 means expansion, if it is equal to 50 means there is no change. So this is a gist of this topic. So apart from this, we also came up with a new Android app of Rathod's IAS. So that will be available in Play Store. So the link of this app is given in description box. You can download that app for our daily PDF of Hindu. And as well as I want to come up with a new initiative after this Sankranti festival, okay, that is to add multiple choice questions or prelims based questions daily. So let me know your suggestions in the comment box whether I have to continue with that prelims based questions also, like 3 to 5 questions every day, such that you can get more conceptual clarity. Okay, so let me know whether it is correct or not, whether I have to come up with this prelims questions or not, and if it is based on your vote as well. So if you comment in the comment box regarding if yes or no, then based on that, from 16th I think from 16th January onwards, we are going to come up with that initiative, okay, based on current affairs related questions. So by this I'm concluding. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to Rathod's IAS Academy and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. And don't forget to enroll to the courses that we are offering in Rathod's IAS. They are exclusively beneficial. So by this I'm concluding. Thank you so much.